Hello Gemini, thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm going to use the Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. Supportive oracle cards are Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen. And there's her last name. Where are we going? Gemini. I see some good things here. What? It's like a mystery, the whole thing, I have a feeling. Like, the whole thing feels like a mystery already. So, there's good things, like, of the few cards of the four cards, one of the cards you have face up is abundance. So good things are here. But this feels like a mystery, which may be fun for Gemini. We'll find out. We'll find out. Starting off, you have perception. But you have a face-down card right behind it. Perception is where you're standing. What you're keeping to yourself is moving things forward. Expansion, to me, that's like moving things forward. That's like you have ideas. You have ideas. You want things to be better. You're looking for bigger, better, more, good. Like, you have ideas, but you're keeping them to yourself at this point. When you start off, you're like, I'm not going to tell everybody what I'm talking about, or what I'm thinking about, because at this point they could just squash it, or get in my way, or cause me grief, try to stop me, or just not believe in me. And right now I think I need to cultivate the ideas a little more before I present them, so I give them something to believe in. I don't want people just to shut me down right off the bat, and I feel like if I don't cultivate this a little more, I'm not going to get the support I need to make these things possibly happen. Even though you're still kind of in the brainstorming part where you're like, I see ideas, I have ideas to move forward, I know where I want to go, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. I need to back up what I'm thinking a little bit more, because I know the way this goes. If I don't back up what I'm thinking, people are going to squash me. They're going to shut the door. Now, ironically, this is face down. 10 of Cups with the 3 of Wands in the environment. People are already, other people, somebody else also is kind of in the same energy. This is a very peculiar thing. This could be like, if you're empathic, if you're an empathic person, you might be actually connecting to what somebody else is already feeling and developing it on your own. Like, just to be fair, if that's a thing for you. If it's not, don't worry about it. Because I'm getting the energy you're dealing with is also getting ready to move forward and is very excited about this and feels like it's going to be very good. Like, they feel like you're going to be pulled in with this and you're going to be enjoying it just as much as they are. But it's also a secretive, quiet, not talking about it energy. Things seem like they're going as normal. But I feel like you and the other side are keeping your thoughts private. Keeping your thoughts from each other for good reason. Kind of like, well, I'm not quite sure about what's going to happen next. I'm not quite sure how we're going to bring it about. So both sides, you and whoever you're dealing with, are just kind of keeping it to yourself, yet you seem to be going towards the same goal. So it's kind of like you're on the same page and you're kind of handling it the same way, and neither side seems to realize it. Very interesting. It's going to keep going. It's building very strongly here, though. With that Knight of Pentacles right here, I really feel like this is going to... It's going to take a while, but the longer it gets, the better it gets. The longer it goes, the better it gets. And I feel like you're very smart for the way you're handling it. It's matching the other energy. I feel like instead of two sides, like, kind of... bickering back and forth about how it's going to be done, it just seems to be naturally moving forward. So, like, it's not picking apart the little parts of the details, it's just going forward. It seems like this is really working. For the lack of communication, I feel like this is working very well, and it's peculiar to me. All right, so you got this coming up next, the completion, right? What is actually happening? Let's base that off of this. Now, even though it's going forward, and it should be, and the longer it goes, the better it gets, you have completion here. Are you leaving? At some point you decide this is just not, this isn't going to work for you. Why though? I don't know if you're getting pulled towards something else or you're just deciding to step out of it. You got completion here. And what you're hiding here is rejection below it, which is telling me like you just don't feel like you fit anymore. You just don't really feel like you fit in the situation anymore. You don't really feel like that's for you. You're not having like the lack. See, this is the backlash of the lack of conversation, because the other side's not telling you either. Things seem to be changing, but they're not communicating to you what's going on. It just seems to keep evolving without people explaining to you what's happening or keeping you in the loop. You're feeling rejected, and you're deciding to let go of it. That's what that feels like to me, anyway. Because you're not being kept in the loop. People aren't telling you what's going on. Instinct is in the environment. I just feel like the way things keep moving forward, it's just kind of like they're just letting things unfold slowly. It's like instead of telling people dinner is ready, literally instead of telling people dinner is ready, it's like putting everything out on the table and then putting a fan directed at the rooms that people are in so that they smell the food and they come to see the food and they come have the food. But nobody's saying anything, but the way it's kind of like there's some communication, because technically having a fan blow the aroma of the food down the hall where everybody is, that's the communication. You're communicating through scent. That's a communication, right? Kind of how the instinct feels here, you know? So that's kind of how they're handling things. They're just like, they're not directly telling people what's going on, but they're leaving clues, or they're giving scents out to let people know what to do next. And it's just not making you comfortable. And you're just like, this is really just not for me. You don't like it. You feel rejected. Kind of like you're not telling me. I'm just kind of finding out by proxy. And it's working out, but I don't feel comfortable with it. Faith, grief, and the Page of Wands is right here. I feel like things are going to keep going forward, but I feel like you're not the only one who is out of place or out of comfort, out of something, out of sync with this whole thing. Like, I just don't feel like the situation, even though it's still going well, abundance is coming forward with the situation. The situation is good. If you're at this point where you're questioning if you should be or should not be a part of this, and you're considering walking away from it, I don't think that's a good idea just yet. I don't think that's a good idea just yet, because there's a lot more abundance coming in with this situation. I feel like what they're saying is stick with it. In fact, I'm going to cheat and flip these cards. Alright, if you stick with this situation, joy is going to happen. If you don't stick with this situation, you're going to regret it. I'm getting two endings here. And I feel the reason this is going to happen is because change is going to happen again. This other energy over here, that the abundance is happening, after a while, it's not going to be able to be sustainable by not communicating. Or however they're pushing things forward, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to have to change. They're going to have to give up some control, and they're going to have to communicate what they want and what they're doing. Instead of just like making the food and setting it on the table and setting up a fan and let people figuring out it's there, it's going to be where people aren't going to be there anymore. And they're going to be in different rooms, and the information isn't going to be, it's not going to work anymore. It's going to stop working. They're going to need help. This is going to be your chance to renew your connection with this situation, and they're going to have to back off. They're going to have to go to the wayside. They're going to have to go to the back seat, because you're going to be better with the communication and getting it out there, and this is what's happening, and this is where we're going next. This other energy, I'm also getting this, is like you don't seem to match with this, but there's a problem. It's almost like this other energy doesn't communicate well anyway. And it's kind of like it was working out for a while, but I feel like you're a component of that, because you're very perceptive and you were figuring out what was going on, and you were kind of letting people know what was happening. You're a big component of the success here. It's just the way it's happening does not make you feel good. This is something you want to stay connected with. You need a stronger piece of this, and at some point this is not going to work the way it currently is. There's a lot more abundance here, but there's even more beyond that if you stay connected with it. I feel like you need to start going towards this person. Like, for example, if somebody was making dinner, made dinner, and then put out a fan and just let the aroma go down, you have to find out who made the dinner and then go from there. Like, okay, who did you tell that you made dinner? Were you letting people know you were going to make dinner, for one? Because that's kind of like a hang-up. Like, all right, people were here to smell it, so they came and ate it. But what if they just left and did something else? What if they just went to McDonald's, they went to a friend's house, or they went there, or they went here, and they weren't actually there when you made all that food for nothing? And you like have to find this person and say, why did you make this food? And how did you communicate this? Did you realize people could have just left and you would have been stuck with all this food and nobody to eat it? Like, you have to get in there and talk this out with somebody. There's going to be a point where you need to like give this person the heads up. Like, I understand this has been working out for you so far, but this isn't going to always work out this way. Communication has to improve for this to continue with its success. I feel like that's the whole thing with this. Stick with it. There's a lot of success to be had here. When you start seeing somebody, you start realizing that's what they're doing, like the whole cooking analogy that I just went through. It's up to you to start searching it out and talking with that person, start conversations to make things progress, to keep the situation abundant. Keep it abundant. You're a big piece of the abundance here. This situation can be much more abundant and continue to be abundant if you stay. You create the joy here. If you walk away, I just don't feel like it's good for you, and I don't feel like it's good for the other people involved. I just feel like the situation won't go as well. The person here who's actually making a lot of headway here, who's very connected to the abundance, it won't work this way forever. You're a component of this. It's very good, though. It's very abundant. So if I can just use that word 50 more times. A lot of success. A lot of good things here. Stay connected. It's good for you and the other people involved. More comes out of this. Especially when you hit this moment where you feel rejected, start going towards this person, start creating more conversations. They might be reluctant, but I feel like the communication isn't an easy thing for them anyway, so. Alright, I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.